this tutorial, you will learn how to program in Java using inheritance. Inheritance is an important feature in object-oriented programming. Instead of having to make a bunch of separate classes, inheritance allows you to take some shortcuts. It saves time by allowing you to code some things only once in the superclass, also known as the base class. It also helps you organize your programs by using a hierarchy. The majority of this tutorial will take you step by step through an easy programming example. You will create a total of 4 classes, a superclass called Polygon, 2 subclasses called Rectangle and Triangle, and a driver class that implements the others. During the coding example, you will learn what polymorphism means. It often sounds more complicated than it looks. And finally, we will test the program and see composition in action. Inheritance in object-oriented programming is a way of solving problems using abstraction to break down complex projects into more manageable tasks. Informally, abstraction can be defined as the process of deferring the details until they're actually needed. In the following example, Polygon is less detailed than its subclasses Rectangle and Triangle. Inheritance builds complexity by extending higher-level classes. Notice that the data fields for Rectangle and Triangle are blue. That's because you don't need to code them again once they've been defined in the Polygon class. This is one way inheritance saves you time. Let Polygon be our superclass. From here, subclasses will inherit and modify Polygon's traits. All classes derived from Polygon will contain the data fields base and height. To make these data fields only accessible to Polygon and its subclasses, use protected as your access specifier. Polygon's constructor will take in new values through its parameters and assign those values to base and height. GetArea returns the area of a specific polygon. For a rectangle, GetArea will return base times height. And for a triangle, GetArea will return base times height divided by 2. But since this isn't rectangle or triangle, we have to return some value, so let's make the default return value 42. When subclasses inherit GetArea, they will also modify the method's code. Changing the steps inside a method block without changing the name or parameters is called overriding a method. The ability to override methods is known as polymorphism in computer programming. Generally, polymorphism is the ability for one thing to come in many forms. In this case, GetArea is a behavior that can come in many forms, depending on the object type. Triangle and Rectangle will both use GetArea, but each class will use it differently. Let Rectangle be a subclass of Polygon. Rectangle will inherit all of Polygon's class members. To tell the compiler that Rectangle is derived from Polygon, use the keyword extends. Rectangle extends Polygon. Since Rectangle only needs base and height, we don't need to declare any specific variables for Rectangle. Polygon has already declared the base and height for Rectangle. The constructor of Rectangle must invoke the constructor for Polygon, since this is the only way for Rectangle to store values in base and height. To invoke the Polygon constructor, use the keyword super. Generally speaking, subclasses use super in their constructors. Rectangle will override Polygon's GetArea method so that GetArea will return base times height instead of the number 42. Let Triangle be a subclass of Polygon. Triangle extends Polygon. In the Triangle constructor, don't forget to invoke Polygon's constructor by using the keyword super, and make sure the parameters of Triangle take in new base and height values. These will be passed to Polygon's variables. Like Rectangle, Triangle will also override GetArea. The area of a triangle is base times height times 1/2. Let driver be the class that implements rectangle and triangle. Since driver is not related to the Polygon family, it can only interact with the Polygon family members through composition. Composition is not the same thing as inheritance. Triangle and rectangle inherit Polygon's traits. Driver uses Polygon-type objects. A driver class can be thought of as an engine of a Java program. The driver creates objects by invoking the constructors of other classes. Scanner objects take keyboard input from the user. Then those input values will be passed to the rectangle and triangle constructors. Once the program is up and running, you will get to see how the rectangle and triangle objects behave. They will each return a value when getArea is invoked.